Squeal, hello? I don't know, Squeal's mic's been cutting out, so...
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, I can just do this damage for now. So in the Polar Division, or in the Elite Conference in the Polar Division, we have Eden on top, 18-6, and shout out to their amazing social media presence. I've noticed their Instagram account commenting on some of our stuff. It's pretty lit. Then second, we have Wildcats 2.0. They're in second place. They're doing pretty good. And those are the top two teams from the Polar Division. Wildcats led by Nathan, and they have good support coming in from Kenga. What do you guys think about those two teams in the top two playoff positions in the Polar Division?
Well, from my perspective, both teams are extremely strong. I have played them, and I know my team has played them quite a bit. They are very strong teams. They are very, it's very attacking. They don't like playing defense very much, but so they'll put up plenty of shots as fast as they possibly can. I mean, they aren't on some, a tier maybe like alpha as in the Rocket division. Just, because I mean, they do have 6 and 8 losses, respectively, which I mean isn't terrible. Obviously, 18-16 wins isn't anything to bat an eye at, but I do think they may be a little bit overshadowed when it comes to their opposition in the Rocket division.
One thing I want to point out is chat says we're pretty quiet. I don't know if that's a thing on OBS or if it's us. I think I'm pretty loud. If it's not too bad, you can just turn up your volume like to max. I don't think it would be that quiet still. But yeah, Freaky, I agree with all the points you made. Well, there's one other thing I want to bring up is we have Eden and Wildcats, and obviously the winner of the division will get a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So it's a big fight. And right now, they both played 24 games. Eden has a 2-game lead. But the remaining 4 games, I'm looking at their schedules right now. Eden looks to have, actually no, they do play. I was wrong. They do play on June 14th, the last day of the season. Eden and the Wildcats 2.0 play each other head to head. Maybe with a chance to decide that first division winner. So I don't know if Squill's here, but Freaky, what do you think? Who do you think will win that division? Eden obviously has the lead right now, but how do you think things will turn out?
Right now, it is easy to say that Eden may walk away with that, but I do have to say that Valiant, who is sitting third, does have a game against both of those teams, as well as Eden and Wildcats playing against each other. Mm-hmm. So depending on how those that one game goes in between Eden and Wildcats, and how they each fare against Valiant, may have something to say for the rest of the for the standings. Right now, I would think Eden will stay on top. I don't see them losing 2 games to let Wildcats sneak up and tie it, or even 3 games and to lose it and go into second place. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting pretty up there, I think. But yeah. I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't think Wildcats wouldn't put up a very, very square fight when they have their opportunity to.
Yeah, sorry for laughing. Zach said something in Twitch chat that gave me a little chuckle, but yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. And if you turn your heads to the right a little bit and look over at the Rocket Division, top 2 teams on that side, Alpha 23-1, only 1 loss all season. Then Comet in second place, 20-2. Those are your 2 teams. They're pretty dang good. Some of the top in the RLPC, and they hold the top 2 spots. But where it really gets close is the wild card spots. Obviously, Gravity and Aerial Aces are the 2 clear teams, but that they want to get better seeding, so they're gonna really go hard here at the end of the season. But between Gravity and Aerial Aces, who do you guys think will come out on top? I know Gravity's been trending upwards and Aerial Aces a bit downwards, but how do you think things will finish up there in that wild card race?
Just checking. Can y'all hear me properly right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yay! Okay, I can talk. So for Gravity, I totally think that Gravity is on the upwards, but they've had a few hiccups recently. This past week, they've had great week. I think they've won just about everything. The week before, though, I think they lost to Origin and also to Wildcats. I'm not sure. Or that might have been Galaxy, a different one. Either way, I think Gravity does have some weaknesses that they've shown over the course of this season. Aerial Aces has definitely still this interesting balance that they're trying to make sure doesn't just topple over with Delirious taking over for Will. They have a lot of ground to make up to ensure that they're ready for playoffs. I personally feel like, though, the win is going to go to Gravity, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Gravity has finally settled down after their whole mid-season kind of fallout. They got their players kind of settled. I think they've been practicing enough to maintain their position and even challenge Comet, depending on how Comet does in the next few games. I know Zach is freaking out in the chat because, it's Zach. But I do believe that Gravity can even challenge for second to get that security, I guess you would call it. But I think Aerial Aces, I think more or less that top four is going to maintain its shape. Maybe Comet and Gravity will flip flop, but I think Alpha and Aerial Aces will definitely just stay on that 1 and 4 slot.
Yeah, I actually agree with that because the Aerial Aces have Gatman, who is currently leading the RLPC in goals per game with 1.65, and he's just kind of that veteran leadership, and I think that will carry them to finish better than Gravity. But if we want to move on to our pro conference standings,
real quick, I just want to add one more point here. Of actually, just an interesting thing to think about is, and I'm not sure if this is mentioned in the course of me not having my mic, but the team that stays in the wild card position of the Rocket division of, say, Comet or Gravity has a chance of playing the people in the Polar division as opposed to having to play each other. If the number 2 Wildcats have to take on Aerial Aces or Gravity, I'm sure those teams in the Rocket division vying for those spots or currently attaining those wildcard spots might have an easier time playing Wildcats as opposed to Comet. Something to think about for those teams that are battling up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But now, if we want to move on to our pro conference side of things, I'm not sure how much this buffers. But in the Titanium division, we have Vitality 17-5 and Illusion 18-6. Those are your 2 top teams. Titanium division. One thing I want to point out is Illusion seems to fell off a bit. I believe just like a week ago they only had 2 losses. Not sure what that's about. But what do you guys have to say about those 2 spots, and in particular the battle for those 2 teams?
Anyways, well, I do want to say I think they were forfeit losses. I can pull up Illusion's actual recent form here. I believe they had 2 forfeit losses, one to Aerial Aces and one to Gravity. Then they also additionally lost to Alpha. So they actually went 1 and 3 last week. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare with, I forget who their new player is.
New player is Illusion? That's Ryan.
Oh, Illusion. Oh, it's Ryan. Okay, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they fare in the playoffs going in here. They are in a good position, and in fact, it seems like they're higher than Vitality, but according to the calculation, they're lower. So we may see them move up into that number 1 position and get a bye. I still think they're going to be a very contention team, a viable team for the championship. So,
yeah, I mean that's a tie, right? Yeah, between Vitality and Illusion. They played less games, but they are mathematically in a tie. So yeah, that bye again. It's that first seed bye you really want to get. Helps you get past a round of the playoffs without even having to play. Switching over to the boost side of things, we have Galaxy and Insurgency. Galaxy on top, Insurgency in second. Rough start for Insurgency, or rough finish for Insurgency here recently. I know they started out really good. Seems to have had about a 500 record in the last 2 weeks. What do you guys have to say about those 2 teams?
Go ahead, Freaky.
Not entirely sure. I know Insurgency has a very strong I believe it's 2 players. They played against Alpha a few weeks ago, and they did. I think they actually took it to 3 games, so they have a much stronger, they have a strong ability to play with the high tier teams, even though they are rocking 9 losses. Galaxy also 8 losses. I'm not entirely sure their style of play. I haven't seen much out of them, and I don't know. I'll pull up who they've played lately, but I don't know. I feel like they can do. This division seems slightly lopsided. I'm not sure how who they played. What the heck was it?
I don't know what that was.
Not gonna lie, that made me lose my train of thought. Galaxy. They're rocking a 66% win rate. So I mean, I think they're gonna do fine. I think they'll hold that 1 spot. Insurgency has had a few flakes here in the last few weeks. I have noticed they've lost a few games that they probably shouldn't have, being as high as they are in the Boost division. But then again, the Boost division hosts the 0-24 team Phoenix, which may have boosted these teams' records just a bit. I'm not entirely sure how many games they've played against them, so some of the stats might be a tad bit skewed. But I don't know. I feel like they can easily be an underdog going into matches against some of the teams that may have more wins. But I guess we'll have to see when we get to playoffs.
And just clearing up that Insurgency, they started out 10-1. They had the best record in the RLPC, and since then have gone 5-8. So rough couple of weeks for them. And then the wild cards. Oh boy, the wild cards are close in the pro conference right now. Right now, it would be Origin both teams from the Titanium division. Origin 13-11, Dragon Acid Gaming at 12-11. I know Dragon Acid had quite the terrible start, but have recently fought all the way back into a wild card. And then right out of a wild card, we've had Frosty, who's had a really bad last 2 weeks. I believe they were in that wild card spot for a long time, but now at 10-13. Squeal, any thoughts about that wild card race?
I mean, so obviously 2 weeks ago, this is a widely different scenario that we had. I think Frosty was actually at the top of these two teams, or the 3 teams, Origin, Dragon Acid, and Frosty. And Storm, Fatal Strikers are also in like general reach of them, where if they really mounted an effort, they might be able to overtake. But now it's kind of leveled out. Origin took a really good win against Gravity, and then they also took a win against Aerial Aces recently as well. I don't remember if that was a forfeit, but either way, those have really helped boost them up in what was originally a very scary Dragon Acid, threatening to overtake Origin, and then Origin lose out to Frosty to be entirely out. Now we have Origin and Dragon Acid as both of the wildcard spots, and I think they're pretty comfortable. Frosty's current form is kind of showing that they're not, and it's a matter of just Dragon Acid and Origin getting those crucial wins to lock them out. I think Fatal Strikers out. Storm's mathematically out at this point.
I think Fatal Strikers are too.
Win
Their best
everything.
they could finish
Did not get 12 and 16.
Oh yeah, yep. But I think Dragon Acid has the tiebreaker. So I think even if
Like
they
for the
tied,
playoffs,
if they won out and Dragon Acid lost out.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. So then, unfortunately for those lower teams down there, I mean they're just, it's done at this point. But looking at the schedules that they have, Dragon Acid is in for it, I believe. I think they just have a very rough schedule ahead of them. They face off against Vitality, Origin, and Illusion, the top 3 of their conference. Origin recently, Acid in their last showing. Things could change. Dragon Acid could come back around, but it seems like playoffs are very close to being locked in. Your thoughts on it, Freaky?
Honestly, my mom just walked into my room and I was muted then. I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, so Squeal, are you saying that maybe due to Dragon Acid's tough schedule coming up, you think that maybe Frosty could still get in?
Possible. Frosty also does have a bit of a difficult schedule, but they have almost a guaranteed win in Phoenix. Not gonna lie. I mean, at this point, 0-24 is really not. Apologies to any Phoenix players watching this, but
I don't think they're watching it. I think they're like going.
I don't know.
I think they're watching this.
That's all they do. They just watch the
Discord
streams. They don't actually play.
Just a little bit more investigation whether or not they're even in the Discord anymore. But
yeah. But then their other matchup, Frosty versus Storm, they've also proven they can beat that team. So it should be 2 wins for them, but Insurgency and Galaxy they're facing off against, and I don't see would have to be a dream upset. However, it's possible Dragon Acid might just have a worse week than Frosty. Have to keep watching that to see how it goes.
who are Dragon Acid coming up against in the next week?
Illusion, Vitality, Origin, and Generic.
That
Did you say Vitality in there? Vitality,
Yeah.
Origin, Illusion. That's a pretty tough schedule.
yeah. So
If they went 1-3, hold up. Let me look at the standings. If they went 1-3 and Frosty went 2-2, they'd still Dragon Acid would still have it though. So
if
I
they were
think
to-
Dragon
Going to have
Acid.
to get one crucial win, or Dragon Acid is going to have to lose out the whole time.
Dragon
Yeah.
Acid needs to beat Generic if they want to stay in contention, or if they want to not bring it to something scary for themselves.
Oh wait, I'm actually looking at just now, like in the past hour since we've made these graphics. Frosty actually won a game. I'm not sure which one, but they are now 11-13. Which game I'm gonna look? They beat H2O, so they're now.
Oh yeah, that was their outstanding game.
They're 11-13 now. So theoretically, if they went 2-2 and Dragon Acid went 1-3, there would be a tiebreaker. Let me see who won that matchup. Frosty won the matchup, so Frosty would get into the playoffs if they go 2-2, and Dragon Acid goes 1-3.
So that
Wow.
Dragon Acid Origin game is going to be huge, depending on how the generic Dragon Acid game goes.
Yeah. Either way, it's still up for grabs. Definitely. Who just joined? I swear. I scared him away.
Oh, it's Phoenix.
Phoenix, they're angry. Phoenix got angry, dude. The back talk on stream. But anyway, moving on. We're gonna talk about the Major League stats now. I'm not sure if these are like 100% updated like today, but they should be fairly recent.
They might not be.
I don't know. I don't do stats.
I had a baby recently, so he was one of the possible people, but he's been. And then I think Kenga's been busy as well, so I don't know if they've done it.
All right. But looking at these stats, obviously, like I said earlier, Gat 1.65 for the past 3 seasons. I think he's been here, maybe 4. He's like always been top 3 in goals. So kind of like an RLPC legend, if you want to call it that. And then just some other big names. I don't want to read everyone off because I've gotten some criticism for that in the past. Demon from Vitality at 1.5. Flitz and Solus, the 2 alpha teammates, 1.32 for the same exact amount. Then over in the assists, Amp from Gravity. Tormin, he's been around since the very first season when there was only like 30 players in RLPC. He's averaging an assist per game. Linko over 2 saves per game. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, if that means they're giving up too many shots on net, or if he's just saving like every shot. Dog, get out of here right now. Leave. Dog, leave. Alright, I'm removing his roles.
Phoenix fans! Don't diss on Phoenix!
I removed his roles. There we go.
I'm not sure if anyone can see that, but his name was Phoenix Fan.
Okay, yeah, but so the stats there. Oh, any interesting things you guys want to point out about the stats?
And to point out, these are the exact same stats as last round up.
Okay, well, stats are our main priority right now.
Yeah. They will be. I apologize, y'all. It's going to get updated soon. But I don't know if there's always anything I can directly point out right now because I don't actually know what the stats are. But I guarantee you that we're probably seeing the same players on there. I feel like Butters may have dropped a little bit because he has only played a few. do see him up there frequently. I think it would be pretty consistent to say Gatman's going to stay there. I don't have a ton that I can really point out, sadly, because of how outdated these
All
are.
right. Well, since those are the same, we'll just go right over to minor league, which I believe are updated. Minor leagues are updated, right?
We have an interview, though?
Oh shoot. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I have the graphics wrong. It's all the wrong order. That's not even the right order. So after stats, we have the upcoming games. Squeal, you made that, so I'll let you take it away.
If we could show up one of the first two, I think it's going to be Origin versus Dragon Acid we have as our...
That works. Just Gravity versus Comet.
Nah, I switched it back.
Gravity versus Comet. Let's talk about that first.
Oh, I don't know.
Origin
It's
versus
still
Dragon
Just, there we go. That's a cool logo. Alright.
Alright, in all seriousness, though, this game is going to be huge for both of these teams. And that entire division, to be honest with you, because if Dragon Acid, as we were talking about earlier, if they lose all 4 of their games in this coming up week, they may lose their spot. So, this is going to be absolutely huge.
This is going to be an insane matchup. I think anything about previous matchups says that Origin does win this. However, again, it seems like right after Dragon Acid got through, I don't know, like week 2 or something, they just started doing things. Like they beat Insurgency first, and they beat Paradox, I think, and now, I mean, they've been taking weird wins against really big teams, showing that, you know, originally they were not the team that they were originally placed to be. It's to think about this matchup and what it's going to mean for, you know, the results of that wildcard position.
Definitely, that is the pendulum in the clock that is the wildcard race in the Pro Conference. So the next game, take it away.
Is this the Galaxy one?
Gravity.
Gravity versus Comet.
So this matchup as well, this is one of those situations where, again, as we were discussing, that whole wildcard position in the Rocket division having some implications for the ease of the team that you might play. That second place team could either be, you know, Comet or Gravity, or it could also be Wildcats, and it depends who's playing. Decide if Gravity drops below Aerial Aces. I don't think that's as huge of a deal because they'll still both be wildcard positions, but it's still, you know, 2 very close teams that have battled each other for a while.
Oh my god. Just share it. It's just share it.
Yeah, it's just okay. Another Phoenix fan. Yeah, but that's really all my thoughts. Are y'all's thoughts about that game in particular?
I mean, Gravity vs. Comet, they're 2 of the top teams in the whole league. Gravity only has 2 losses, as Jared pointed out in chat. And honestly, I'll say it right now, I've been surprised by this Comet team. I know they had a little bit of a shake-up in between seasons, but they've really been, from the first day of the season, they've been right on it. Their top players, I know they have Jared, he's really been leading the way. I'm trying to find the roster, but I can't. Oh, also KO or Kurbo. I think he's a GC. He's been playing pretty well. And then they have good support in Dawkins Splice, who came over from the old Galaxy team. So, yeah, I think Comet will take this game.
Yeah.
All right. Freaky, you got a different opinion?
No, I think that'll hold. I don't think Gravity can pull it out. Also, I mean, even though they're only 1 behind, and it seems like they're 3rd place in the standings, I do have to point out that that Comet has, I think, 3 games in the bag against them. They still have a few games to be played. Maybe 2. I don't know. Quick math, but I think Comet will definitely take that one and just hold their 2nd place spot.
Need further evidence, as Jared has pointed out in chat, he is a grand champ as well. So, there you go.
I just look at the sheet.
Alright. Alright.
One more.
All the upcoming matches.
Is that all of them for majors?
Yeah, that's all for majors.
All right. So, and now we will be interviewing Zynga. Zynga, a longtime member of Origin, been holding it down. He's their GM. Origin obviously has that big tilt against Dragon Acid Gaming for that wild card spot in the Pro Conference. I have 2 questions for him, but I know you do too, Squeal, so I'll let you start off. So how you doing, Zinga?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, good. Squeal, if you want to interview first, it's fine.
I'll go ahead. So Zynga, well, first of all, if you could introduce yourself, I know, like, tell us when you joined, where you've gotten in the league. I think you reached playoffs one time before this, so if you could just give us a brief summary.
I started in Season 3 on Origin. We made the playoffs my first season. Believe it or not, we actually had a losing record, but we still made it. Season 4, not so good. Worst record in the league. And then fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, it's been quite a great swing to watch. I was actually Animosity for last season, so the minor league affiliate. Got to see Origin there, and now it's nice to see them suddenly up and at it again. New talent to Skippy. He's been really good. But tell me, who is A, the toughest team you fought against, and then B, what's the most exciting matchup you had this season?
The 2 toughest teams are the 2 teams with the best record, and that's Alpha and Comet. They're both incredibly fast, and I enjoy playing against fast teams like that because it really makes sure that to make 0 mistakes, so it's enjoyable. But my this game have to go to Vitality. Both were but in both series, 2 of the 3 games went into overtime, so it was really close across the board.
Yeah,
to play.
They definitely seem like that team that just is. And watching them is just a lot of fun to watch them too. So I feel you there. And then, I guess if you could possibly answer this, could you give us a 1 or 2 top players that you've gone up against and what you think about them?
I'll give you my top 3. The first 2 are
do it.
Blitz and Solus. Incredibly fast and quick, and you can't really beat them. And then number 3 has got to be my boy to Skippy, Stakes, and he's honestly carried us to our record this season. They're especially against Gravity in Game 1. I think he had close to 400 points. Struggling at under 100. And he carried us to I believe a 2-0 win.
Insane. And I think I've said this before, but in watching him, there's something about incredible at reading the ball, but he's incredible at reading where other players are going to hit the ball, and he just 50s it like crazy. It's awesome.
He's definitely a student of the game. He knows what he's doing, and he tries to improve pretty much at every.
Great. All right, Yanks, you go ahead. You got a couple questions?
So obviously, you guys with Origin, you're in the first wildcard spot right now in the Pro Conference, and you're coming in as a wild card, and you're in the playoffs, you can match up against teams possibly like Vitality, Illusion. What strategies? Because deep down inside, you know that those teams are stacked. So what are your strategies for trying to combat these teams with top players?
So pretty much the way it's going to come down to it, the number 1 strategy that I'm going into with it is set up to Skippy as much as possible.
Mm.
Key to the success we've had so far is just getting him involved, because once he gets involved and he can start putting in chances, me and Zoid and Little Guy, we just follow suit, and then we're able to just because they have to put so much effort in slowing to Skippy down.
So obviously, yeah, you want to get it to your top player. And then another question I had was, so you've obviously been in the RLPC for a while, and you've played against teams that are so good, but you've also seen the teams who maybe aren't as skilled, but they just have that X factor that somehow gets them to a good record and to deep playoff runs. So my question for you is, how much of a part and how do you think team chemistry comes into play, both in the regular season but especially in playoffs?
I think it's incredibly important. I think one of the most important skills or aspects that you can have as a team is just trusting one another. Like, for instance, season 3, we were in a great team because we just had 100% trust in each other that even if you weren't going to get to the ball or be there first, you just have to have trust in them. And that's what I think teams like in Comet, they just have complete trust in one another that they're going to have the skill to get the ball, and it allows them to go incredibly fast and win all these games.
Definitely, trust is a big thing in Rocket League because you either know, I mean, it changes your whole play style. You can either play where you want to go if you trust your teammates, but if you don't trust your teammates, then you have to worry about, okay, do I have to back up here? Do I have to maybe cover net because I don't know if he's going to hit the ball? But yeah, definitely. And thank you for your insight. Thank you for stopping by on this interview, Zynga from Origin.
Thank you so much.
So now we're just going to do a little Major League discussion. I don't know if the guys had anything they wanted to bring up. So you guys can take it away.
Let me think if I had anything in particular. Freaky, if you've got something readily on hand, you go right ahead and start it.
No, it's going to be. I'm just looking forward to this next week. Obviously, it's a lot closer than some people might have thought with some of the powerhouse teams that we've come accustomed to talking about. But some of those mid-level teams that are pushing for the playoffs are definitely going to be interesting to watch over this next week.
With that, I think there's a lot of elements of roundup. It's really hard to. I guess the thing I'm trying to say is it's really hard to talk about those lower teams, and for those that have been honestly suggesting that we talk about them, I do apologize because it seems like it's just difficult to come up with readily available cool stats and stuff like that. But I mean, we are watching all. I do appreciate seeing the random wins that Fatal Strikers, Chrome, even generic have just got over teams and stuff. It's always interesting, and it always adds more to the league. I think one of the main things about the majors this season is that we've had to figure out, like, sure people keep playing, because honestly, like, when people keep playing and they get those random wins, it makes things so much more exciting. You look at Dragon Acid's slow rise, and now that they're about to get into the playoffs and they have a huge chance, it's quite awesome to see just teams that initially have bad outlooks, and even Valiant coming at this huge come up there as now they've finally started to be able to play after avoiding scheduling so much. It's very nice to see. We'll hope to see more of it even in this final week.
Yeah, but also one other thing I wanted to point out was I forgot about this. I just happened to just now click on the draft tab. I forgot that Skippy was the first overall pick to Origin. So when there are a lot of GCs going off the board and stuff, one player in particular I'm looking at 4th overall is Galaxy took Deluxe, who's not even in the league anymore. So Origin did a really good job at drafting. I know when they picked Skippy over a bunch of GCs, we're all a little bit questionable, but that really did turn out to be a good pick. And obviously Zynga was here crediting him for much of their success.
Personally say, from what I've talked to Zynga about, they've actually been friends for a while. I think that Zynga convinced him to join the league and stuff, so it's a little bit more understood why they picked him, but it still turned out to be very good because, I mean, I think he's now a Grand Champ as well. Pretty sure he's
season.
Yeah, but definitely. It's an interesting poll, and it's fun to look back at that draft and see all the players and how they've changed, and how teams have changed.